The morning on Fort Ridge Navy Base began like any other. Gray sky, cold wind from the Atlantic, the metallic ringing of boots hitting concrete. Nothing unusual until the rookie, Private Logan Brooks, messed up in a way no one on that base would forget. The incident happened faster than anyone understood. 1 second, the rookie carried a bucket of soapy water, trying to finish his chores before inspection. The next, the bucket slipped, swung forward, and splashed across the person walking past him. A wave of cold, dirty water crashed right onto the face, uniform, and chest of an older woman in a faded navy jacket and steel gray hair tied in a low knot. Gasps shot through the hallway. Even the air seemed to freeze. Logan didn't know who she was, didn't recognize the posture, didn't recognize the quiet strength in her expression, didn't recognize the insignia barely showing beneath her jacket. He only saw an older woman in a military corridor, and panic made him bark before thinking, "Ma'am, watch where you're walking." The hallway went dead silent, and the few sailors who witnessed it slowly turned pale. Because Logan hadn't just splashed water on anyone. He had just humiliated Evelyn Hale, the most decorated naval strategist on the East Coast, a retired Rear Admiral, a legend whose call sign, Iron Gale, was still spoken with respect in war rooms. But Logan was too new to know the stories. Evelyn wiped the water off her face with the back of her hand. Slow, controlled. Her eyes didn't flash with anger. They sharpened, like a knife catching light. "Is that how they teach you to address senior personnel now, Private?" she asked quietly. Logan opened his mouth, but only a squeak escaped. He still didn't get it. He thought she was maybe an old clerk, a visitor, someone unimportant, so he doubled down. "With all due respect, this area is for active personnel only. You shouldn't be standing in the way." Someone behind him dropped a clipboard. Another sailor whispered, "Oh God." Evelyn didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "If I were you," she said gently, "I would stop talking." But humiliation makes young men reckless. Logan felt eyes on him, felt nerves shaking his pride, and instead of apologizing, he straightened his shoulders and delivered his final mistake. "Look, whoever you are, you can file a complaint later. I've got work to do." A cold breeze seemed to move through the hallway. Evelyn's expression didn't change, but something heavy, invisible, shifted. Commander Harris stepped around the corner, saw the scene, and his face collapsed. "Private Brooks!" he roared. "Stand at attention!" Logan snapped upright instantly. But it was too late. Commander Harris approached Evelyn and spoke with the stiffness of pure fear. "Admiral Hale, I deeply apologize. This—" Evelyn raised her hand. A simple gesture. Silence cut through the hallway. "No need," she said. "The private is simply uninformed." Logan's jaw fell open. "Admiral, this woman?" His stomach turned into ice. Commander Harris looked like he wanted to crawl into the floor. "Admiral Hale is here on direct request from Fleet Command," he said through clenched teeth. "She's evaluating our readiness. And you, Private Brooks, just soaked her in dirty mop water." Logan's breath caught in his chest. Evelyn turned to him again. Not angry, not offended. Worse, calm. "Tell me, Private," she said softly. "How long have you been on this base?" Six days, ma'am." 6 days, she repeated. "Plenty of time to learn respect." She stepped closer, slow, precise. Logan could feel every heartbeat. Evelyn leaned in just slightly and whispered, "You don't have the slightest idea who you just embarrassed, but you're about to find out." The hallway felt smaller, the air thicker. "Commander," she said without looking back, "bring the rookie to the simulator room." Logan blinked. "The simulator?" Evelyn finally let the faintest smile touch her lips. "If he wants to act like an active service member," she said, "then he can prove he's worth the boots he's wearing." Her boots clicked once against the concrete. "Let him show me what he knows." Logan felt all the color drain from his face. What started as humiliation over a spilled bucket was now turning into an evaluation that could end his entire career. The sailors watched in horrified silence as the Admiral walked away. Soaked uniform, steady steps, unshaken dignity. Logan swallowed hard, because everyone on that base knew one truth. No one walked into a test by Admiral Evelyn Hale and came out unchanged. And Logan Brooks was about to learn why her call sign was still whispered like a storm warning. The walk to the simulator room felt like marching toward judgment. Private Logan Brooks had never heard a hallway feel this loud. Every boot step echoed, like it belonged to someone else. Beside him, Commander Harris walked with shoulders stiff and jaw clenched. No one spoke. No one dared. When they reached the door, Harris stopped and faced him. "Private," he hesitated, which scared Logan even more. "Whatever happens inside, keep your mouth shut. And for the love of God, show respect." Logan nodded quickly, but his heart was rattling his ribs. The simulator room was dim, cold, and humming with machines. Screens flickered. Massive hydraulic platforms rose like metal beasts. This wasn't the place where rookies trained. This was where officers proved themselves. And standing in the center of the room, dry uniform now replaced with a crisp, dark navy jacket, was Admiral Evelyn Hale. She looked completely transformed, as if the water incident had never happened, as if the entire hallway humiliation was merely a spark before the storm. Her eyes lifted to Logan, calm, focused, too calm. "Private Brooks," she said. "Step forward." He obeyed instantly. "You made two mistakes today," she continued. "First, you disrespected a superior officer. Second," she tilted her head slightly, "you underestimated what an older veteran can do." Logan swallowed. "I believe in lessons," Evelyn said, "the kind that stay with a person for the rest of their life. And today, you're going to learn one." She gestured toward the largest simulator pod, a full tactical helmsman module used for naval air coordination. "Inside," she said. Logan hesitated, only half a second. Harris nudged him sharply. The rookie climbed into the simulator seat, hands trembling. Evelyn stood behind him, arms folded. "This simulation," she explained, "is taken from a real mission in the Strait of Hormuz. Restricted operation, classified for years. One of the most dangerous coordination sequences ever run by the Navy." Logan's breath caught. "You will take the role of the helmsman," she continued. "You will manage close-quarter maneuvers, coordinate with incoming aircraft, and keep the carrier stable under fire." Logan turned to her, horrified. "Ma'am, I've never—" "That," she said softly, "is the point." The lights dimmed. The simulator roared to life. Waves thundered across the screens. Red warning lights blinked. Evelyn spoke without raising her voice. "Begin." The scenario exploded instantly. Alarms, radio chatter, flashing radar, rapidly approaching enemy vessels. Logan grabbed the controls by instinct, pulling too hard, almost tipping the carrier in the simulation. "Steady," Evelyn murmured. "Feel the weight. She's not a bike. She's a floating city." Logan gasped as the ship lurched. How am I supposed to—" "Stop panicking," she said. "Use your head. Anticipate. Breathe." Her voice was maddeningly calm. Logan fought the controls, sweat dripping down his back. The scenario intensified. An incoming aircraft signaled distress. A missile warning blared. "Shift to Vector Charlie 7, Evelyn commanded. I don't know where that is." "Then find it," she snapped, not in anger, but in urgency. Logan searched frantically, hit the wrong toggle, and the entire simulation shook violently as the virtual carrier took a simulated hit. He flinched hard. Evelyn stepped closer, voice low. "Do you know who ran this exact mission?" she asked. No, ma'am." "I did." Logan froze. Evelyn's eyes stayed locked on the simulation screen. "And I ran it with half the technology you're using now. Half the crew, half the visibility, and twice the danger." She leaned slightly closer. "That's why I know when someone is panicking. And when someone is simply not listening." Logan forced his eyes back to the controls. The simulation grew worse. Heavy waves, blinding smoke, alarms everywhere. He felt ready to break. But in the midst of chaos, he heard Evelyn's voice again. Quiet, steady, grounding. "Find the horizon, Private. Always find the horizon. Your job is not to run from the storm. Your job is to keep the ship steady through it." Her tone shifted, just a shade softer. "That's what leadership is." Logan exhaled shakily, hands gripping the controls tighter. He tried again, this time watching the pattern of the waves, the rhythm of the wind, the timing of the alerts. "Good," Evelyn said. "Now stabilize. Counter the drift. Gently." Logan adjusted, and the simulator responded. "Better," she murmured. "Now keep her alive." The scenario escalated to its final stage, multiple threats converging. Logan did his best, but he still wasn't fast enough, trained enough, or calm enough. The simulator flashed red. Mission failed. Silence fell like a curtain. Evelyn didn't speak. Logan wanted to sink into the floor. Finally, she stepped in front of him. "Look at me, Private." He did. "You've been in the Navy for 6 days. There is no universe in which you could have passed that simulation." Logan blinked, confused. "It wasn't a test you were expected to win," she said. "It was a test to show you what discipline looks like, what pressure feels like, what consequences are." Her voice softened, not kindly, but truthfully. "And maybe to show you that the people you think are just older veterans once held storms together with their bare hands." Logan lowered his gaze. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, truly." "I know," Evelyn said. Then she added the part that made his throat close. "And I don't hold the water incident against you, but I do hold ignorance against any service member who refuses to learn." She turned away, her silhouette sharp against the simulator glow. "You will report to me for additional training every morning for the next 2 weeks," she said. "And you will learn respect. Not because I demand it, but because the uniform you wear does." Logan nodded quickly. "Yes, ma'am." Evelyn paused at the doorway. "One more thing, Private," she said without looking back. "The next time you see someone walking these halls, with gray hair, a faded jacket, or a slow step, think twice before assuming you're the one who knows more." She walked out. The door closed. Logan sat alone, chest tight, realizing the truth hitting him like a wave. He had just survived his first lesson from Admiral Evelyn Hale, and she had only begun. The next morning, Logan Brooks woke before sunrise, not because his alarm rang, but because shame never lets a person sleep long. He stood in the mirror of the recruit barracks, trying to steady his breathing. His uniform looked crisp, but he didn't. His eyes were tired. His thoughts were heavier than his boots. He couldn't erase yesterday, couldn't erase the simulation failure, couldn't erase the moment he realized Admiral Evelyn Hale, the woman he had laughed at, had once carried responsibilities he couldn't begin to imagine. At 500, he walked to the hangar where she said training would begin. The moment he opened the door, he froze. Admiral Hale was already there, but she wasn't standing. She was kneeling beside an old rescue helicopter, its metal scarred, paint faded, tail number barely visible. She traced a finger along the dents like someone revisiting memories. Logan stepped closer, quietly. The hangar felt colder than outside, quieter than the simulator. He sensed this room held stories no rookie had earned the right to hear. Evelyn finally noticed him. "You're early," she said. Yes, ma'am, Logan replied. Good. She rose to her feet with slow precision. No rush, no struggle, just controlled movement, the kind only years of discipline could teach. Do you know what this airframe is? She asked him. Some kind of search and rescue bird, ma'am? She shook her head lightly. This helicopter pulled 227 service members out of hostile zones. She served 21 years, and she broke down only once. Logan hesitated. What? What caused the break, ma'am? Evelyn didn't look at him. She kept her eyes on the machine. A young officer who thought he knew more than the people who built her. He rushed her into weather she wasn't meant to fly in. She stalled midair. We barely made it out. Logan's mouth went dry. Was that officer punished? Evelyn finally faced him. He carried that failure for the rest of his life, she said softly. Punishment wasn't necessary. She motioned for him to follow. They walked across the hangar to a quiet office with glass windows, overlooking the aircraft. Inside was a stack of old mission logs, photographs, after-action reports, and on the wall, a single, framed newspaper clipping. Hale leads impossible rescue. 5 saved against all odds. Logan stared at it. That was you, he whispered, though he already knew the answer. Evelyn didn't confirm or deny. She simply sat at the metal desk. Training begins now, Private. She didn't start with drills, not shouting, not punishment. Instead, she handed him a thick folder labeled Naval Decision Pressure Scenarios, Internal Use Only. Logan frowned. This looks like officer coursework, ma'am. It is, she replied. And you will learn it, because you had enough confidence to insult someone you didn't understand. Let's balance that with knowledge. He swallowed hard and opened the folder. Charts, maps, risk indexes, command hierarchy flow, emergency sequence timelines, case studies from real missions. Some marked classified, others stamped with red ink reading, casualties. 12. Failure, command misjudgment, outcome, avoidable. It was overwhelming. Evelyn didn't soften. Start reading. For the next 2 hours, Logan flipped through pages that weighed more than the paper they were printed on. Each scenario showed how one wrong assumption, one rushed judgment, one careless moment could end lives. He understood the lesson without her saying it. Respect isn't about age. Respect is about responsibility. Eventually, Evelyn spoke. Close the folder. We're going outside. They stepped onto the tarmac. The sun was rising. Orange washed over the base, revealing the silhouettes of aircraft and the long shadow of the hangar. Logan braced for drills. Instead, Evelyn handed him a headset. You will direct a live approach sequence for incoming supply aircraft. Nothing risky, but enough to test if yesterday taught you anything. Logan froze. Ma'am, I'm not trained for real-time coordination. She faced him squarely. That did not stop you from acting superior yesterday. It's time to match your attitude with ability. He nodded shakily. A pilot's voice crackled through the headset. Approach tower. This is Echo 7 requesting vector. Evelyn whispered. Remember the horizon. Remember the rhythm. Remember, pressure isn't your enemy. Panic is. Logan inhaled sharply, then spoke. Echo 7, this is, base approach. Adjust vector to... He fumbled the map. Evelyn stepped closer. Voice, soft but firm. Don't think of what you might mess up. Think of what you must protect. Logan steadied his breath. Echo 7, adjust vector to 179er. Maintain current altitude. Wind drift slight right. The pilot responded smoothly. Copy, base, adjusting. Logan felt his chest loosen. Another aircraft came in, then another, then a cargo drone. Each time, Evelyn stood silently beside him, letting him struggle, correct himself, adapt. He wasn't perfect, but he wasn't breaking either. After the final craft touched down, he lowered the headset with shaking hands. Evelyn spoke. You improved. Still made mistakes, Logan said. Good, she replied. Mistakes teach. Arrogance blinds. They walked back toward the hangar. And then, as they passed a group of recruits, Logan overheard one whisper. Is that the Admiral he soaked yesterday? The others snickered. Logan's jaw tightened. But Evelyn didn't pause, didn't look, didn't correct them. She simply kept walking, spine straight, expression calm. Logan hurried to catch up. Ma'am, doesn't it bother you? What they think, what they say, Evelyn stopped, just for a moment. When you've stood on a carrier deck during a missile storm, she said, the opinion of a crowd becomes very small. Her tone shifted, quiet, reflective. And when you've buried friends who never made it home, you learn what deserves your energy and what doesn't. The words hit him harder than yesterday's shame. They reached the hangar doors. Training continues tomorrow, she said. Yes, ma'am. Be early again. I will, Evelyn nodded. But just as Logan turned to leave, she added, Private Brooks. He faced her. Yes, ma'am. You did well today, not great. Not terrible, but well. And sometimes, she said, well is the beginning of something better. He stood straight. Thank you, Admiral. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened, just a fraction. And for the first time since arriving on the base, Logan felt something shift inside him. He didn't just want to impress her. He wanted to become the kind of sailor she wouldn't be ashamed of. The next day arrived with a storm warning. Dark clouds rolled in over the Pacific. Wind rolled across the tarmac in long, sharp waves. The base felt tense. Equipment tied down, crews moving quicker than usual, radios crackling nonstop. Logan arrived early again. But Admiral Evelyn Hale was already waiting. She stood outside the hangar, hands behind her back, face lifted toward the sky, as if reading it like an old book she'd memorized long ago. Storm's coming, Logan said. It always is, Evelyn replied. That's why we train. She motioned for him to follow. He expected more air traffic drills, maybe more command flow exercises. But instead, she led him toward the old rescue helicopter, the same weather-beaten machine she had shown him the day before. A mechanic stepped aside as they approached. You're taking her up? He asked cautiously. Evelyn shook her head. No. Today, Private Brooks takes command. Logan felt his pulse drop. Ma'am, you can't be serious. I am. But I'm not ready. No one ever is, she said. But readiness grows in the moment responsibility lands on your shoulders. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You failed the simulator because you panicked when things shifted. Today, you won't be alone. I'll be beside you. But you will make the calls. Lightning cracked in the distance. The instructor mechanic frowned. Ma'am, with all respect, she cut him off. He needs this. And she climbed into the co-pilot seat. With trembling hands, Logan climbed into the pilot's chair. The headset clicked on. Wind hammered the open hangar door. Inside the cockpit, it was oddly quiet, like the storm respected the walls. Evelyn leaned back calmly, hands resting loosely on her knees. Begin pre-check, he swallowed, and began reading the panel. Switches clicked, lights blinked. The engine groaned awake. Outside, the storm tightened its grip, rain hitting the pavement like gravel. The rotors spun faster, slicing through the wind. Altitude test, he said, voice cracking. Good, Evelyn replied softly. Keep going. The more he spoke, the steadier he became. He didn't realize it at first. But his posture changed, shoulders loosening, breath sinking with the thrum of the engine. The helicopter lifted a few inches off the ground. Only a hover. Nothing fancy. But to Logan, it felt like lifting a mountain. Hold her steady, Evelyn said. Lightning flashed. Thunder rolled over the base like artillery. The helicopter wobbled. Logan gritted his teeth. Counterdrift, correcting, stabilizing. The machine steadied. Evelyn didn't react, didn't smile, didn't help. She simply watched. Rain streaked the windshield. The base blurred through gray sheets of water. But Logan didn't panic. He breathed in rhythm with the engine. He remembered the horizon. He remembered the cadence. Her cadence. He lowered the helicopter gently back onto the tarmac. Full control. No panic. No collapse. The blades slowed from a roar to a whisper. When the engine finally shut down, the silence hit harder than the storm. Logan looked at Evelyn. You trusted me to do that." "No," she said. "I trusted the man you're trying to become." The mechanic jogged over. "That was surprisingly smooth for a trainee." Logan didn't answer. He could only hear his heartbeat, steady this time. Evelyn climbed out and faced him in the rain. "You realize something today," she said quietly. "Confidence isn't pretending you're unbreakable. Confidence is showing up after you've been broken once." He nodded slowly. "And the storm?" he asked. "Storms aren't your enemy," she said. "Storms reveal your discipline." For a moment, neither spoke. But then, voices erupted behind them. A group of recruits watched from under the hangar roof, the same ones who mocked yesterday. The same ones who giggled when they saw her damp uniform. One of them called out, "Hey, Brooks! Didn't think you had it in you!" Another shouted, "Guess Grandma Hale still has some magic left." Logan felt anger spike, but Evelyn put a hand on his arm. "Let them speak," she said. "You and I know what really happened today." He turned to her. "Ma'am, may I say something?" She nodded. "Yes, speak freely." He stepped forward, facing the recruits. Rain plastered his hair to his forehead. His uniform clung to him, but he didn't care. He raised his voice. "You think she's just some old officer? You think she's a joke? You think rank fades because the uniform gets older?" The recruits went quiet. Logan continued. "This woman outflew storms bigger than this. She saved lives. She commanded teams you couldn't even stand next to. She's forgotten more about service than any of us have learned." Evelyn narrowed her eyes, not with annoyance, but with something closer to pride. "And if any of you ever find yourself in danger," Logan said, "you better pray someone like her is the one coming to get you." Silence. Even the storm seemed to pause. The recruits lowered their eyes, shifting uncomfortably. Logan turned back to Evelyn. "Ma'am, thank you for not giving up on me." Evelyn exhaled softly. "I almost did," she admitted. "But I saw something in you. Not talent, not skill, not brilliance. I saw humility trying to grow. And that is the beginning of leadership." He swallowed hard. "What now, ma'am?" She looked toward the storm clouds parting over the base. "Now," she said, "you train harder. You study longer. You learn to carry responsibility with steadiness, not ego. And one day, if you're lucky, someone will trust you the way I trusted you today." Lightning flashed again, but this time far away, rolling out to sea. Evelyn turned to leave, her silhouette sharp against the fading storm. "Report at 400 tomorrow," she said. "Oh, 400, ma'am." "And Brooks?" "Yes?" "Try not to soak any more Admirals." He almost laughed. "Yes, ma'am." No promises. And as she walked away, slow, steady, unshaken, Logan finally understood. He hadn't been training to impress her. He had been training to deserve the uniform he wore.